After you've given birth to your baby, the question is, how quickly can you resume sex?
Yeah, we waited about a month afterwards before we actually tried sex again.
Every woman is very different about how they feel about resuming lovemaking with their partner, and some women are really quite keen to get back to it as soon as possible, and others will actually take quite a while. I mean, it might be several months, in fact.
It's depended on each one. Depends how tall I am. I suppose. I think she was about 3 weeks old, which I think is about the time with all of them when I've decided I'm not so knackered that it might actually be an interesting prospect rather than.
Obviously, breastfeeding and lactation does tend to dry you up downstairs a bit. It's one of these things, although it inhibits, egg production and stuff like that, it also actually inhibits the general sort of moisture production down there. So, I was quite aware of that, so we made sure that we had, lubricants and things like that as well. We used a condom. Of course, I was in charge. There was no way I was letting him sort of do anything. It was, you sit there.
Because you don't know when people are going to resume, you do talk about it a little bit early on, just to try and get a feel for when's appropriate to talk about it.
I think with a caesarean, you're in a lot more pain afterwards, even than after a perineal tear. Personally, I've always had quite high hormones, so resuming sex has always been quite high on the agenda. But it definitely had to be a lot more gentle after having had a caesarean for a period of time.
Mark was very, very, very gentle and very, very, very caring, and it did feel very strange, actually. And I don't think I could carry on for very long. Although I did have an orgasm and it was pleasurable, I got a bit sort of scared when I actually sort of realised what was happening and thought, I haven't had my 6-week checkup, and panicked a little bit, and then, sort of stopped, basically.
When you want to, off you go. There is no clear and cut rules when you should resume sex and when you shouldn't resume sex. The rule is when you want to. Don't be coerced into it. Don't feel you should or you shouldn't. When it's right, it'll happen. It doesn't matter if it's 1 day later or 6 months later. When it's right for that individual woman, that's when it's right.
There's got to be something in it for me as well.
But it didn't put me off.